Hello there, dear friend. Welcome to our cozy corner of the world. This is a story for everyone, kids, teens, grown-ups, anyone who needs a quiet tale full of wonder and gentle magic. So make yourself comfy. Maybe you're curled up under a blanket or walking through a sunny park. Wherever you are, I'm glad you're here. Let's begin. On the edge of the little village of Cloverbridge, just past the bakery with the red awning and the hill with the sleepy sheep, something unusual had appeared. It wasn't there the day before, but by morning, nestled between the cobbler's shop and the sleepy bookstore, a new storefront stood. Its windows were fogged with swirling shapes that shimmered in the sunlight, and a crooked sign above the door read, "Supernatural Dealings, Rentals Only." Beneath that, in careful silver script, "No cash accepted. All magic has a price." The villagers were curious, of course. Some walked past with wide eyes, others peeked in through the misty windows, but it was a young woman named Clara who finally stepped inside. Clara was a soft-spoken soul with a woven basket always on her arm and a love for listening more than talking. She lived in a tiny blue cottage at the edge of the woods and spent her days gathering herbs, helping neighbors, and writing stories she never shared. The bell above the door tinkled like icicles. Inside, it smelled of cinnamon and old books. The floorboards creaked kindly beneath her feet, and shelves twisted high toward the ceiling, holding all manner of things: glowing lanterns that floated, cloaks that hummed softly, vials filled with storm clouds. Behind the counter sat a manner, maybe something more than a man with moss, green eyes and silver threads in his dark hair. He smiled without showing teeth. "Welcome," he said gently. "Looking to rent something magical?" Clara blinked. "I think I'm just looking." "That's allowed," he said, nodding. "Magic isn't for everyone, but it does have its moments." Clara wandered past shelves labeled strength, flight, healing, and invisibility. Each item shimmered faintly, like it knew she was there. She stopped at a small glass orb that pulsed with a soft blue light. It was labeled, "Voice like music." "I used to sing," Clara said quietly, "but I forgot how." The shopkeeper stepped closer. "You could borrow that, just for a little while." "What's the price?" she asked. He looked at her gently. "One forgotten sadness. A memory that's made you quiet for too long," Clara thought. "And then?" She nodded. The orb warmed in her hands. And so, the shop stayed. The foggy windows never cleared, and no one ever saw a delivery truck arrive. But somehow, there was always something new on the shelves, and the villagers began to wonder, what would you give for just a little bit of magic? The morning after Clara took the orb, she awoke with music in her throat. Not just the memory of songs, but the sound of them, soft and glowing inside her like the warmth of a hearth. She hummed while she brewed tea. She sang while she watered her tiny garden. Her voice floated through the village like sunlight through lace curtains, and for the first time in years, Clara felt whole. Elsewhere in Cloverbridge, word about the shop spread quietly, like sugar in warm milk. Old Mr. Telly, who had forgotten what it felt like to run, stepped in one rainy afternoon. He left with a pair of boots that let him leap like a fox for the cost of one stubborn grudge he'd been carrying since boyhood. A child traded a long-forgotten nightmare for a blanket that always smelled like her grandmother's hugs. People came not out of greed, but curiosity. They left with borrowed gifts and lighter hearts. And the shopkeeper, whose name no one ever knew, watched over it all with a kind, unreadable smile. Clara returned often, not always to borrow, sometimes just to chat. She asked him one day, "What's the most expensive thing someone ever rented?" He looked at the high shelves, eyes distant. "Once," he said slowly, "someone asked for the ability to speak with stars. In return, they gave away their fear of being alone. Was it worth it? Sometimes," he said, "the price isn't clear until much later." That night, Clara sat in her cottage, her voice dancing through the air as she sang to her tea kettle, her cat, and the moon. And though the song was soft, the village listened. Evening drifted in like a blanket, and the magical shop glowed faintly between its ordinary neighbors. Nothing flashy, nothing loud. Just a door that opened when you needed it, and shelves full of quiet wonders waiting. The seasons shifted. Summer softened into fall. Leaves fluttered in golden spirals around Cloverbridge, and the shop stayed open, its windows fogged, its shelves full of quiet wonders. Clara's song had become a favorite among the villagers. She never performed loudly or on purpose, but people paused when they heard her voice floating from behind garden gates or through open windows. One crisp morning, she returned to the shop. The bell tinkled as always, but this time, she held something in her hands, the glowing orb. "I'd like to return it," she said softly. The shopkeeper tilted his head. "Didn't like it? I loved it," she said. "But I think it helped me remember the part of me that could sing all along." She smiled and placed the orb on the counter. "I want someone else to feel what I felt." The shopkeeper's smile deepened. "That," he said, "is the purest magic there is." And as she turned to leave, the shop shimmered behind her. The next person who borrowed the voice-like music would find, nestled beside the orb, a note in Clara's handwriting. "May this help you find your voice, just as it helped me remember mine." And so, the village changed not with fire or noise, but with quiet exchanges, soft songs, and small glowing gifts passed gently between hands. The shop stayed, always open to those who truly needed something, not money, not power, but a part of themselves they thought they'd lost. And that's our story, dear listener. A tale of magic, yes, but more importantly, of hearts finding warmth and voices finding their way back home. If you enjoyed this gentle journey, be sure to like this video, subscribe for more cozy tales, and share this story with someone who believes in quiet wonder. Until next time, keep your kindness strong and your imagination open.